Welcome back to another episode from the Stands podcast. JC here alongside Jacob. How we doing?
Doing good, man. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, so far so good. What a crazy week 7 it was. We'll be recapping that, talking about some other news going on in the college football world, and then obviously previewing week 8, which of course, like, it seems like we keep talking about how every week's the greatest slate, but it seems like it keeps getting better and better. Obviously, as the season goes on, we got more storylines. There's more things kind of at stake with college football playoff implications and conference titles and all that good stuff. So I say we hop right into it, just with the biggest news in the college football world, which is Penn State 15 days ago being up on Oregon 7-0 in overtime, losing that game, following up with the week after losing to an 0-4 UCLA team, playing in front of 37 fans, and then following up this week by losing to Northwestern 22-21. Add insult to injury, Drew Aller announced he's out for the year. And then a few days later, James Franklin has been fired and is no longer the head coach at Penn State. He spent 12 years, I believe, there?
I think it was right around there.
Which, to be completely honest, I did not realize he had been there that long. Like, I remember when he was at Vandy and like getting hired, I feel like he was there for like 7 years. The fact that he was there for 12 years is kind of crazy. Obviously, a lot of these rumors were starting like after the UCLA game. But what do you make of this? Because I have two sides of it where I feel like this is insane. You guys are like freaking out. The other side of it is like, I get it, like, but I don't know. So I'm curious to hear your opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is, like you said, he's been there for a lot longer than we thought. So 12 years. A lot of coaches don't get 12 years at a program.
Right.
And he's been probably one of the easiest coaches to figure out when it comes to like predicting, because I mean, if you were smart, Penn State would win every game they were supposed to. They'd almost win 9-10 almost every single year, no matter what. And then, every single year they would lose to, Ohio State or, before. I mean, now they got Oregon and other big teams in there, but they'd lose to Ohio State and Michigan, just teams that they were not necessarily favored against. And that's kind of been James Franklin's persona, if you will. It's been that. And so you could figure him out, and like year after year, especially like in the past 3 or 4 years, just like the playoff has expanded, pressure's gotten even, worse on him, because you can't make. We can understand, not making that leap to make a 14 playoff, but like not making that and then not making any noise in a 12-team playoff, and then so anyway, all that to say, he was expected to win like these last 2 games. Oregon is like a traditionalist Penn State James Franklin kind of game where you lost in overtime. Just wasn't really. He was favored. I think Penn State was in that game. They were supposed to win that. And it just obviously that was like another one. Okay, it's like, okay, here we go. They lost this one, but this was supposed to be the year. So everything just kind of came together like that, and it hasn't worked out. And then obviously, like you said, losing to UCLA, which is probably one of the biggest upsets I've seen in a good while, and then losing to Northwestern at home. That's what really I think was the nail in the coffin. Obviously, it was, but like just the fans there just had to boo him out the door essentially, and then I don't even know what the heck happened to Drew Aller. We saw the replay. It looked like it's just a hard hit, but I don't even know if they've come out and said what actually happened to him. Maybe just pride's hurt, so he's on the DL for the rest of the year just because of that. But like, just Penn State as a whole, it's done right now. Not like, just put a nail in the coffin, dead kind of thing. But what James Franklin built there, and like I said, there were so many returning starters and seniors on this team. It's going to be a big rebuild from here on out.
Yeah, and and I don't know if this has anything to do with it, because it's not like, well, I guess there could be people in the administration of that school or the athletic department that had been there for a good portion of Joe Paterno's career. But if you look at how long, it was kind of just like an old school mentality. Joe Paul was there forever and ever and ever, and that's kind of how it used to be. But that's why part of me like thinks this is crazy. He's built all of this, and it's like, can you not have a down year? I mean, think about the NFL. Bill Belichick, they had 8 and 8 years, right? And you got to keep it going. Like, okay, a down year, cool. We're still recruiting heavily. Obviously, we still have guys coming in, the portal and all that. But I get it in this world of NIL, and not that this has changed, but it's like the boosters have a lot of say. They're paying a lot of money, and if they want something done, money talks. And in this situation, even much more now, where you can almost buy your way into something, not necessarily, but you can try to, right? The Yankees have been doing it forever and ever, it seems like. It doesn't always work out, but at least we'll get you to that point. And maybe they feel like this guy can only get us to a certain point. Like, he cannot get us over the hump. So I think that's maybe why I say it's a little crazy in my head, because I'm like, man, you guys are winning all the time, a few plays away from being in the national title game last year, but it's not enough. And I get it. Again, how long are you going to let this happen until you can't get over the hump? So, that they obviously felt like a change needed to be made. And then if you feel it's going to need to be made, you might as well do it now as opposed to later and get this coaching search done. Now, it sucks for all the other guys that are potentially going to get hired by him, because they're in the middle of a season. And now you have to worry about your season, and there's already been coaches that are answering questions about the job in the opening, something we spoke about a little bit before, which is Matt Rule, who played at Penn State. I think he's already got questions about it. Dylan Raiola has already answered questions about it. So it's just a distraction to other teams, which you never really want. But yeah, I haven't heard a lot of names. To me, I think I've just purposely just like haven't paid too much attention to that, only because it's like we're in the middle of a year. Like, all these other guys, and there's going to be a lot of other coach openings, I would imagine, after this year too. So like, you never know what the shuffle is going to be. So not that it's not worth it, but it'll be interesting to hear like what we have, like, once we actually get some traction going on later in the year. But yeah, what names have you heard besides? Like I said, I heard Matt Rule. I heard he had Penn State ties. Was not aware of it until we did a little bit of research before the show started. So obviously, you playing there, I mean, that's why wouldn't you want to go coach the team that you play for? It seems to be what a lot of people want to do, right? Obviously, Jim Harbaugh and Kirby Smart and kind of people of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, you could throw out any name that's available with this, like you said, this crazy coach, carousel that we're looking to have this offseason. You could throw out, Eli Drinkowitz at Missouri. Like I said, Matt Rule's probably the leading candidate. I've heard a random Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame, which I don't know where that kind of came from. I don't know why he would.
I did see that.
Change.
I don't see why. Yeah, he would change at this point.
Yeah, I don't know why he would necessarily, but unless there's something to do with conference, it doesn't matter.
And he's an Ohio State guy. Not that Ohio State likes Notre Dame, but you sure as hell don't like Penn State.
Yeah, that one doesn't make sense. I heard Matt Campbell. I mean, hell, even Tulane head coach John Sumrall, he's been thrown out for a lot of coaches' name. But like I said, there's right now. I mean, there's like Arkansas is wide open, needs a head coach. I mean, there's several other teams that will need one, and you've heard rumblings of a lot of places that will need one at the end of the season. So we'll just have to see where everything lands. But like you said, these teams don't need these distractions. And to kind of answer your point about why do it now, because like if you're going to do it now, you have to know what you're going to get is better than James Franklin. So I agree with you with that point. And who out there right now can you guarantee is better than James Franklin? It's
or at least better right away. Like, it's still gonna. You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna come into a great situation with probably a pretty decent roster, but like, does that automatically mean that they're gonna be better than Ohio State and Michigan or Oregon, or you know what I'm saying? Like, Kirk Cignetti, are you getting over like at this point?
That's the other name too. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, shoot, Indiana's already beaten Oregon, and Penn State hadn't done that in years. So I mean, like, does that even matter? Like, yeah, it's going to be crazy. But I mean, that's why I say I think just the rebuild is on with whatever head coach you bring in. You're going to need a good year or two with whoever it is. So Penn State's just it's going to take some time.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, obviously that's something we'll kind of have our ears to the ground, and I'm sure it'll come up again before the season's over about the rumor mill and what's kind of heating up. Because at some point, these reports come out and like they end up being true to a certain degree. So, people have their sources in these places. So we will keep tabs on that. All right, well, let's get right into week 7, man. Let's talk about last week's games, and then let's preview the upcoming week. All right. So the first game we talked about, number 1 Ohio State traveling to Illinois. Champaign to take on the Fighting Illini. Ohio State came in as 14.5-point favorites, and They covered 34-16 was the final there. Ohio State looking like the number one team in the nation, just quietly dominating this Illinois team. You get that pick correct. But yeah, shout out to Ohio State getting the win, moving on, and obviously they're looking like they're going to be a lock for the playoff, and probably the top 4 to 6 teams, playing for a national championship.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it feels like the Big Ten championship is almost a lock too for Ohio State. Just the one team we thought before that was, like Oregon was like kind of right there with Ohio State. They look like the best two teams in the country, and then Oregon lost, and now Indiana's kind of taking that spot. So
Yeah.
But yeah, Ohio State getting to the Big Ten championship looks like a lock, if you will. But yeah, it's been a disappointing season for Illinois. Already got 2 losses, and obviously this is your best shot to make a statement for the year, getting them at Ohio State at home, and they just don't seem to be all that impressive as they were last year, and stuff. So not ideal for them. They now fall. They were 17th in this game. Now they're out of the top 25. Their season's certainly not over, but now they're 2-2 in the Big Ten. So the Big Ten championship game is probably out of it.
Yeah.
And they would need a miracle to make the playoff, but they'd have to win out. And I don't know how strong of a team they have to do that. So
Right.
But yeah, Ohio State does look like the number one team in the country.
Well, speaking of the Big Ten, let's keep it rolling with them. Number 3, Oregon, hosting Indiana. Game day was in Eugene for this game. Super hyped up, but I was telling everyone, hammer Oregon in this. Like, Dan Lanning, this team, the momentum, and boy, could I have been more wrong. I mean, 30-20 Indiana with a 10-point win. Kurt Signetti is, I don't know, dude. He's just like, achieving legendary status there in Indiana. I found out today that they have like the most losses in like college, in like any college football program. Like, they have the most losses, and here they are, number 3 in the country now.
That's crazy.
And potentially playing for a Big Ten championship if they keep going what they're doing. And then obviously, like, Kurt's got national championships in his sights as well. So, should we be surprised? I mean, what he did at James Madison and made that program is what it is, but it's like, okay, small school, cool. You're in Indiana. You're in one of the toughest conferences in the country. Good luck, buddy. And look what he's doing. I mean, Obviously last year was not a fluke. So shout out to Indiana. Oregon's still in it. Their season's not over. That's their first loss of the season. Like, I still think they have a shot at winning it, but holy cow, I was not expecting this, in a home game for Oregon.
No, I agree. From Indiana's perspective, the biggest win in program history. I'm not gonna seriously. I know anything from the 80s, 70s, something like that. But yeah, I mean, biggest win I've ever seen Indiana have, and they got some dogs on the team. I mean, Mendoza's 1, 2, 3 Heisman right now. We'll just put him wherever I'd agree with it. And Elijah Surratt, the receiver, 8 catches, 121 yards, and a touchdown in this game. Like, they came and showed out. It wasn't just like some fluke and stuff. And like I said, this defense is insanely good. I think this was a decently close game, 30-20, but Dante Moore threw 2 fourth quarter picks. So this Indiana team is not only good, but they're pretty clutch too. So
yeah,
not many teams do that. They go up to Eugene and beat Oregon in their own building like that. So yeah, this Indiana team is for real. And it certainly hurts from Oregon's perspective, and it drops them to 8th in the AP poll. I don't know exactly how to feel about Oregon. I still think they're really good, but I don't think I look at them as like, hey, this is like one of the 2, 3 best teams in the country anymore, because now you think back and like see what's happened at Penn State and how they had to go to overtime. Granted, it was the whiteout. It was at Penn State before they kind of fell.
right.
But that doesn't look like as great of a win now. And then they're losing to Indiana at home. I think this Oregon team is still pretty good, but like they may be more Notre Dame level than like Ohio State level, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, and look, they might just be one of those things where they just play their way into, I think they'll be in the playoff. It just might not be
like an 8-9 seed. Yeah.
Yeah, they might not be in the Big Ten championship. But again, long season ahead. Indiana still got to run the table. So, all right, moving on. Let's get to the SEC. A pretty hyped up game. Ended up being, I'd say, probably not the most fun one to watch, but number 6 Oklahoma taking on Texas, the Red River Shootout down there in Dallas at the State Fair. Texas came in as 3.5-point favorites. They got it done, 23-6. Big news here. I think John Mateer comes back from the thumb injury. While watching the game, at some point, it looked like it. I don't know if it's just scars or something. It was his hand was bleeding. They had to go wrap it up and stuff. But he actually ends up throwing 3 interceptions to Arch Manning 0 interceptions. So Arch definitely took care of the ball. The fact that Mateer's already back, kind of crazy. It didn't look like, obviously you throw 3 picks, like, do you blame the injury? Sure, but it doesn't look like he was like wincing a lot, or like the ball wasn't coming out odd. Like so, shout out to his toughness. But yeah, 23-6. Texas has a very, very, very good defense. I think we knew that, but obviously, like, the talk has been Arch, 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 which is probably not fair to Arch or or the rest of the team, or for Steve Sarkisian at that matter. So I think that we need to, like, Texas is still the real deal if they can get the run game going. I think Arch is going to solidify himself and maybe get a little bit uh, more calm. Again, still first year, fully starting. Is he going to be an elite guy? Maybe not. Maybe that's just not who he is. But I think he can still play a lot better than he is. But yeah, 23-6 was the final there. Oklahoma. Look, they're still in it too. Look, so I mean, it's gonna be a long year. But what'd you make of this game there, Jacob?
Yeah, I think this is kind of the game that Texas fans have been kind of waiting for. They just didn't need Arch to be like the Superman yet. Just that they know what kind of team they got around him. And finally, the offensive line played a good bit better. And they were able to run the ball. That's the biggest thing. I think Wisner had 22 carries for 94 yards. And like that wasn't like knock it out the park kind of a home run rushing day, but it was good enough. And it was like establishing the run.
Better than what they've had.
Exactly. And that's, all they needed apparently. I mean, 23 points, you'd like to score more, but like, hey, when this defense is holding Oklahoma to only 6 and like blanking them in the second half, like that's a really good day. And Texas can do this to anybody. That's the thing. That's what we've been kind of hoping for Texas to turn it around. But you just don't have to lean on Arch Manning. This is still technically like his first year starting, even though he had some playing time last year. So he may get better later in the year, and this Texas team could be a really dangerous team later in the year. But yeah, this was a big win for him, obviously with the rivalry game, but I mean, just in general, just to get back on track. And from Mateer's perspective, like I definitely think he rushed it to get back. I mean, I thought when the injury first happened, it was like 4 to 6 weeks kind of thing. He was rushing it back to get here. But it was odd. It was like the first drive he played well and was actually able to sling the ball pretty good. And I guess, like you said, maybe his hand like broke open or something like that and started bleeding and made it harder to grip the ball, whatever the case was. But I would have liked to seen Oklahoma from 2 weeks ago play this Texas team. You know what I'm saying? That'd been a much more fun game to watch. But hey, take them when you can get them. Oklahoma drops from 6th to 14th, and Texas is back ranked. So this season didn't over for either one of these teams.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. All right, moving on to what I thought was a pretty exciting game over the weekend. Number 8, Alabama, traveling to Columbia, Missouri to take on the Tigers. Alabama came in as 2.5-point favorites. Of course, they covered because they won by 3 points. 27-24 was the final. Missouri actually had a chance there at the end to make a crazy little comeback. So I thought it was a pretty compelling game. Ty Simpson, I think, at least personally, has solidified himself as at least, I don't know if he's going to win the dang thing, but he's at least the Heisman frontrunner right now. The way Alabama's playing right now, the way he's playing, the way he's moving around the pocket, like, tell you what, it's almost like Alabama back in the day. They used to do this with their quarterbacks, but they weren't as dynamic. But I'm thinking like the running backs, right? They would just be breeding these running backs. By the time they start, they've been there for 3 to 4 years, and I've sat behind other guys in the NFL, and Ty's been there just kind of sitting and waiting, and he gets a shot, and now you look what he's able to do in that offense. So, I was talking to somebody the other day. I don't know if it's because of it's not a Saban-led team, and maybe it's because Alabama's been knocked down a little bit down the earth. I feel like I don't hate Alabama this year. It's always like, oh, Alabama's been winning, yada, yada. And I know you probably don't feel the same way because of y'all's rivalry there with Clemson, but it's like, I'm not saying I'm pulling for them, but I'm not like, man, screw this out. I feel like I'm not like an Ohio State fan. Like, I'm tired of seeing them. But so I was just kind of like, all right, let's have an exciting game here. And I think we did. I don't know why that matters. I just like had that feeling this whatever weekend watching them. I don't know why. Again, do not mistake that for me pulling for Alabama because that sure as hell ain't happening. But I don't feel this like unnecessary hatred towards them in the moment right now. So they rack off another 2-3 championships. Maybe I'll feel that way. But yeah, 27-24. I thought it was a very exciting game. And again, I don't think Missouri's season's over yet either. Like playoff implications either. And Alabama, continues to roll.
No, I agree with that statement. Both of them seasons are just kind of getting going, and no, I I think the level of hatred for Bama for me is still there, but it's not as worrisome of like, okay, we had this just giant here waiting, like right. we when we knew when Saban was there, we knew it was just like That's the number one team. That's the gold standard, and it's just nobody else. And right now, like you said, they kind of been knocked back down, but they're proven to win some tough games. I know they've had a tough little stretch here, and traveling up to Missouri is no easy task and winning. So, yeah, Ty Simpson, like you said, he's doing it kind of the old fashioned way, and kind of what we would old people. We're not old, but the old fashioned way, like sitting behind somebody, waiting your turn.
Yep.
And he's done that, and I can applaud that. And he's playing pretty damn well and leading his team to a 5-1 record and sixth in the country right now. So looking pretty good. And yeah, I hate, like you kind of mentioned, I hate the way that this game ended because Perbula, the quarterback from Missouri, threw that late pick, and he was just sitting there like, "Oh, I did not want to throw that." And did you see the other receiver on the other side of the field who was like,
yeah.
He was like wide open, but he wasn't exactly wide open, but he was just jumping up and down. And it's like, I don't know. You used to play football and stuff. Like, how would you feel as a quarterback? Would you feel like you just showed me up there for him doing that? Or like,
I don't know. I mean, receivers are always open, but obviously, like you said, he could tell he didn't want to let that ball go at that moment, and
yeah,
and the receiver he was throwing to wasn't quite paying attention either. So, no, I
right.
don't think so. I think it's just a competitive, like, oh man, like I'm open, or at least I appear to be wide open now. And then the pick
Yeah,
happened. I think you're just kind of like, it's not
I
like a
got you.
screw you thing. I think it's just like a frustrating, like, here I was, So
I got you. But yeah, you hate that for Perbula and everything. But
yeah,
hey, a 3-point losses, in the eyes of the committee and stuff, if this is your one, maybe two losses, it's not a bad loss because Bama looks to be, top 5. I mean, they're 6 right now, but they're pretty good team. So not a bad necessarily loss for Missouri.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. All right, I don't even want to really talk about this game because I've halfway moved on from it. But man, LSU taking on South Carolina down there in Baton Rouge. This was a night game. Hell of an environment. It seemed like 20-10 was the final. LSU covered the 9.5 spread. That hurts a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, look, there's like two things I can really touch on that are quick and easy that tick me off. One cost us the game and one did not necessarily. Is us driving down the field, getting in scoring territory multiple times, and just again getting penalty after penalty after penalty. We're on the 20-yard line, like we're probably going to kick a field goal maybe. And what do we do now? The next thing I know, we're at the 50-yard line because we've had false start, which is why Beamer decided to fire the offensive line coach Lonnie Teasley, which I don't blame him. So Sean
Yeah.
Elliott, the former offensive line coach there when Spurrier was the head coach, former Georgia State head coach, is now back in that role as the head guy. So let's hope to God that helps a little bit. It's just so frustrating when like we did not play good and I felt like we should have won this game. Like, and that's no like LSU's defense is really good, but like I didn't think the offense really impressed me much. I mean, what impressed me much was number 14. I think it's like Yaz Allen, whatever that guy is. He's like a tight end wide receiver. He's like 6'8", 6'9". I mean, we had a manned up single coverage and that dude's just boxing us out, catching everything. So that was a little bit frustrating. The second frustrating part, which seems to be the trend when we play LSU, is, and I don't know if you saw this play with the fake punt, but we line up for the fake punt, right? And I think we have a late substitution, so we have to let them substitute, right? So when that happens, normally there's a ref over the ball that's preventing the snap from happening. That's not what happened, though. There's no ref over the ball. The ref steps in front of the punter and is not letting him snap the ball, which is fine. Substitution, right? That's how it happens. Well, then the ref steps back behind the punter. Then we snap the ball and we fake it and we get the first down. And then we get a penalty saying that, oh, we weren't supposed to hike the ball. The ref said you couldn't hike it. But it's like, well, you moved out from behind him. So how's the punter going to know we're not supposed to snap it? How's the long snapper going to know we're not supposed to snap it? And I think there's one other guy that kind of tells the long snapper we're ready, right? Because he's kind of like bent over looking down because no one can touch the long snapper. So he gets a signal from somebody else. So like Beamer obviously went ballistic. The post game and even the media this week, he still seems to have not gotten an answer, and you can tell he's trying
I
to bite
think
his
that's
tongue.
why they did it, because every time he goes ballistic, it's dry. It's TV. It's beautiful. Because Beamer gets mad like no other coach.
Dude, I literally was looking, like, we made sure, because like I guess they find out what refs they have, like what team they have before the week. So like people are keeping track to see what the team of refs was coming, because the group that we had last year obviously like legitimately shafted us. Like I think that's like a national, like people know that that now. That's not just a crazy fan talk. But yeah, again, I'm not saying that fake punt won us the game, but we have the possession and they don't. We go down and maybe we score 3 points. I don't know. We get this thing closer. But I'm like, it's just so frustrating. Like, and I know Josh Pate has talked a lot, not even specifically to our games, but like the Georgia Auburn game. There was
Yeah.
the whole goal line thing with Jackson Arnold. Like, I don't know what they're doing, but like, I mean, the players are getting paid, so I would assume, I'm sorry, that maybe the college football refs can like get paid a little more, and they're actually full time. The NFL guys aren't even full time, or at least they used to not be full time. They might be now, but like these guys are full time referees. Like, come on, bro. If you don't want him to snap the ball, then stay in front of him. But as soon as you take a step back, like, why can't we snap the ball? And then you're going to call a procedure penalty? Like, come on, dude. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that reffing was bad there. No excuses for that one, that's for sure. But yeah, I think y'all are haunted by this LSU team, 20-10, and what, like I said, what happened last year, and then this year, and then like I said, 20-10. Yeah, that sucks to lose to them like that again, because you want to kick their ass after last year, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, we've said it before, but this LSU defense is pretty legit, and I think that's the main takeaway from this game. Sellers had 22 rushes for 19 yards, and I think that, I mean, obviously that's, including sacks.
It's
and
the
stuff,
sacks, yeah, that doesn't help.
It's the sacks, but that stat. Do you know the other stat about Sellers rushing this game, which just blew my mind? I had a buddy at work.
I didn't confirm if it was right, but I think I saw where he ran for like 894 yards or something.
It was 894 yards was Lenore Sellers' total distance traveled during plays during the game. So, like, he ran for 19 yards over 22 carries, but ran for almost 900 yards.
I mean, think about you just watching this man run up and down the field 9 times, and it's going to take a few minutes, and that's what he did.
Yeah, so that's why the offensive line coach got fired. That stat right there. Somebody brought that to Beamer's desk and was like, yeah, we got to let him go after that.
I mean, probably, right? Like, you can't have that. I mean, it's and to be honest, it's like, it's one thing to, don't get me wrong, it's very annoying to like have people not get blocked. It's more annoying to have freaking false start after, like, it is absolutely insane how pissed off I'm getting now at games. I'm normally getting pissed off because we're losing, but now every false start, like, what are we doing, bro? And it's on the center. Like, the center just like didn't snap the ball like 3 times. Like, hey man, just snap it. Just snap the ball. How is everyone moving and you're not? Like,
that's a very good question. Who knows? But
we had 2 guys now. We had 2 different centers. We switched them up.
Dude, it's a revolving door offensive line for y'all, isn't it? Like,
I mean, we had a couple injuries, nothing crazy, but we've had some guys banged up, so like that doesn't help. But like, it's not of 2 years ago when we went 5-7, we literally had 9 offensive linemen out. Like, it's not that the injury is not the excuse. It's the execution and the discipline.
Right.
I don't know what they're doing. Like, I know it's a hostile environment, but this shit happened last week at home too. So like, I don't know. We got to figure it out.
Yes, you do. And now 1-3 in the SEC and 3-3 on the year, and obviously this started the gauntlet of ranked matchups y'all have. So, I mean, I guess you're looking for a bowl game now at this point. I mean, if your team's gonna play like this, you'd be lucky to get a bowl game. So, gotta get it together.
I'm just trying to go 6-6. I'm hoping Clemson goes 6-6, and we both play in the Meineke Car Care Bowl or something, and we play each other twice. That's what they should do.
That would be kind of fun.
That should be that. Is like, hey, you guys are so bad. Y'all just play each other again. Because then, hey, maybe we win 1, you win 1. And then look, and then everyone's happy, dude.
And then everyone's happy.
Both teams go 7-7. Both get a win. Both coaches are happy. Like, the recruits, like, we're good. Come on, man.
The 1 year where we can like not be mad at each other because
could you imagine
we both have a win?
I mean, the world might change. The U.S. government might get out of debt.
You know what? No,
I mean, we might accomplish a lot.
We skipped a year. Remember? A couple years ago, COVID, whatever happened.
Yeah.
And so
we would have played. We would have played, but the ACC.
Whatever happened, it was gay. So like, we need to have this game to make up for it.
Yeah. You're right. All right, let's move on from this, dude, because I'm tired of it. All right, let's move on to the second USC, because they're not the real USC, because South Carolina was a college before they were in a state. So that kind of, validates that argument right there, whoever wants to talk shit about that. But Michigan traveling to old Los Angeles to take on USC. I don't understand this Trojan team at all. I cannot get a hold of like what they are. They're so inconsistent, it seems. USC came in as 2.5-point favorites. For whatever reason, Jacob, you picked them to cover, which I thought was asinine. But they absolutely dominated Michigan and Bryce Underwood 31-13. See, now like my frustration is bleeding over. So it is what it is. But yeah, 31-13 was the final. USC's got another big game coming up. Man, yeah, shout out to Lane. I almost said Lane Kiffin. Holy cow.
Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley. You know what I'm talking about. Shout out to Lincoln Riley.
He's so mad he can't think.
I can't think straight, dude. See, I'm thinking about Whit Weeks, which leads me to Landry Kiffin, which means to Lane Kiffin. And that's how that goes.
I got you. I'm following
All
you.
right, man. You talk about this game, dude, because I don't want to.
Yeah. So the USC Trojans had the home game, played Michigan. They won 31-13. I certainly didn't see this kind of a score coming out. It was just 2.5. So I was like, hell yeah, I think USC can win by a field goal at home. Because this Michigan team has been like up and down, just kind of like USC has. They've been, a decent team with a decent defense and stuff, but they just have not been able to throw the ball much this year, and they just rely on, just rushing the ball, and it's worked for most games. But I think Lincoln Riley is a smart enough coach to say, hey, I'll put 25 guys in the box and leave your receivers wide open if you're not going to throw the ball.
Yeah.
And it seemed to work. Michigan doesn't seem like they want to score in the 30 points this year, so they just want to keep their opponents down. And like I said, Jaden Miava is a pretty decent quarterback, and you're not going to keep him, especially at home, not going to keep him, under 30 points, it seems like. So, yeah, I mean, again, I didn't see this kind of a 31-13 kind of score happening, but I still think Bryce Underwood, this Michigan team's played some crazy away games. They started the year at Oklahoma, now they're at USC and stuff. So, like, props to Michigan for playing the schedule. But I mean, Bryce Underwood is still a freshman and stuff, and he still threw for 200 yards in this game. But the backbreaker here was, like I said, Michigan ran as a team for 31 carries, 109 yards, no touchdowns. Obviously, just 3.5 yards per carry, just not good enough. And like I said, with USC being able to throw the ball like that, and they weren't able to keep it close. So I'll take the dubs when I can get them.
Which is crazy because I mean, Justice Haynes has been running for that by himself the last few weeks. Yeah. So, USC seems like they might be figuring some stuff out on defense. So, all right.
Yep.
Last game, and we'll move on to week 8. Clemson traveling to Boston College, 41-10 was the final. Clemson covered their 14.5-point spread. I think this game was like 34-10 at halftime or 34 to whatever at halftime. So, it looks like you guys got some backups in, which was good, into this thing early. And, give some guys some more reps. So throughout the season, build that depth out a little bit, and then obviously progressing into next year. But now look, now you guys are 3-3, the same record as us. And I'm being serious here. It is the mindset change, because to me, like us being 3-3 is frustrating, but like we didn't start out as bad as you guys did. Like it didn't seem as devastating, I guess you will, right? Just like how hyped you guys were, like top rankings, all that stuff, right? So how do you feel now that you're 3-3, like mentally, like legit? Is it like, all right, let's right the ship, let's win 8-9 games, or is it like, look, the season's still over, whatever, we're not going to the playoff, but let's just try to win out, see what we can do? Like, I don't know, do you feel any better being 3-3, or because at the same time too, like, to be completely honest, the last 2 weeks have not been great competition. So it's like, this is what you should have done all along. And maybe this week we'll find out if you guys have really improved or not with a pretty decent SMU team coming in here. So I'm just curious as your mindset as a fan, just kind of because it's been such a kind of a weird start to the year.
Yeah, I think you asked the question and answered it yourself almost, which is, exactly kind of how I feel, is that, it was such a disappointment that I feel like I threw everything out for the year and say, hey, I'm not going to have any expectations, anything like that, for anything else. And I'm still sticking with that, even though I feel happier, not depressed as much, which is, big plus. But I understand who we're playing these past 2 weeks. And just like I said, after last week's win, it means something because it adds a dub, to the win column. But like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I feel better going forward. I feel better that night kind of thing and everything. But yeah, I mean, we're about to talk about Clemson SMU and stuff. Like, that's a decently better team. I think SMU's not as good as they were last year, but it needs to translate to these better teams, and the mistakes need to, not follow with us and stuff. And we
Yep.
need to play cleaner football and play better to our potential. And obviously we did here, but again, we could do this to a high school team even in week 2 or 3 after, whatever. We still beat Troy, even though we sucked it up that whole game. So like, we just need to continue to translate this to bigger and better opponents. And then I'll feel a little bit better. But again, the expectations is still, we already have 2 ACC losses, and there's like, 2 or 3 ACC teams that are probably going to get no more than 1 loss or something like that. So like the ACC championships out of it, which means basically the playoffs out of it. And so I don't have any expectations for that. We're looking for a really good bowl maybe, but like, I just want to, like I said before, I want to beat FSU if I can and beat y'all. Those are my goals. And this is looking better to get to that point. But I need to see it against SMU coming up.
I mean, if you think about it, dude, let's bring you back 10 years ago. Well, yeah, 10 years ago before you guys won a natty. That's all we really cared about was, hey, let's maybe go to a bowl game. Let's beat our rival. Like growing up, dude, we won 6, 7 games. Shoot, we're going to a bowl game and we beat Clemson. Dude, that's all I cared. Oh, I just wanted bragging rights for the year. Screw everything else. So
exactly.
now everyone's a little jaded because, we start winning championships and now the expectations are too high. It's like, screw you guys. What do we really care about? What really makes me happy? And that's beating our rival. Like at the end of the day. Like
exactly. That's right.
All right. Well, before we move on, Jacob, give us our picks for the week. What's the current standings? You've already kind of given me a little bit of insight before the episode started, so not looking great. But go ahead and tell us where we're standing at right now.
All right, dude, I got you. So week 7, I went 4-3 with my picks, and that puts me at 23-26. Still not over 500, and so still not happy, still not satisfied. But over 500 for the week, it's a good start. And then JC, you went 2-5 this week, which puts you at 22-27. So in the overall standings, I have you about 1 game, but both of us are under 500, so there's nothing to brag about.
It's unacceptable.
I feel for you, brother, because that's 2 back-to-back 2-5 weeks for you. So we gotta do better this week for both of us.
It's unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. I know Clint's probably cheering right now because of me winning this thing back-to-back. But he's not here right now, unfortunately, and I do miss him. But it's frustrating, and I know I'm more capable of that. I'm hoping these picks this week turns us around. I don't know. You've already said you're not changing your picks based on our conversation. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm probably not. I've made all my picks, so here we go. I just need to get to 500. That's all I need because that normally, if you set that goal, normally things are going to be pretty good.
And we don't know Clint's picks right now, and even if he is picking at home, while he's not on the pod, but I feel sure he's probably doing a hell of a lot better than we are.
I don't know, dude. I need proof. Hear that, Clint? I need proof. I know you're listening. All right. Before we move on, shout out to our sponsor, East Coast Golf. Go to eastcoastgolf.us. Get all your premium golf apparel, polos, hats, T-shirts, accessories. We got it all. eastcoastgolf.us. Sign up via email. Get 10% off your first order. Jacob, appreciate you. All right. Here we go. Big time slate. Week 8 coming up. I cannot wait. Let's get into it. Not on purpose. It's going to be a little SEC heavy just based on the ranked matchups we have. But let's start out with number 5, Ole Miss, traveling to Athens to take on the Georgia Bulldogs. This is a 3:30 kick on ABC. Georgia, 7.5-point favorites. Jacob, first pick of the week. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Ole Miss here. I am very happy with these lines this week. As last week we didn't specifically say this, but we lost 2 of those games by half a point. And I think there were 6.5 and like 2.5, something like that. Right on the field goal touchdown line. And this game is plus 7.5 for Ole Miss. So if Ole Miss can keep it within 7, I understand it's a 3:30 game at Georgia. But I mean, Ole Miss is really impressed everybody this year, especially with the backup quarterback who's playing like a starter at most schools anyway.
Yep.
I'm pretty impressed with them, and if I get a touchdown, even though it's at Georgia, I feel like I'm confident in them covering. Whether they're winning, I'm not 100% sure, because going into Athens and trying to beat Georgia any given year is not a gimme. And like I said, Georgia is, I won't say down. They only have 1 loss. They're still 9th in the country, but like They're not the Georgia of past, where they're number one with every freaking recruit in the country and stuff, and winning back-to-back national championships. So,
Yep.
I mean, if there's a year, Ole Miss can do it this year. And Lane Kiffin's team has proven that they can hang with the big boys this year so far. So, I'm going to take Ole Miss to cover. It's only 7.5. I think they can keep it within a touchdown and start off this week hot, boys. 1-0.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's kind of tough to judge them because it's like, all right, Georgia's still a very, very good football team. Yeah, okay, they're not as dominant as they were a couple years ago, so you kind of like look at them a little bit differently. Should we? Probably not. I think they're still a very good team. Gunnar Stockton's still young. This is his, really first like full year starting as well. So I think Georgia wins the game, but I'm with you on this one. I think Ole Miss covers 7.5 is just too much. If it was 6.5, 6, I'm probably going Georgia's way. But I think obviously we're talking in half point metrics the way we're losing these things. So every half point matters. Yeah. So I'm gonna take Ole Miss to cover the 7.5, but I think Georgia wins a close one at home. I just trust that coaching staff a little bit more. So and look, Lane Kiffin's making jokes about Kirby Smart and talking about who's burning calories and who's not. He said he appears to not be. So like Lane knows what he's doing in the media, but when it comes to like on field talent, I'm trusting that Georgia Bulldogs roster a little bit more than the Ole Miss Rebels. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with Ole Miss as well, just for the cover. So all right, next game we have number 6 Alabama hosting Tennessee. They come in ranked number 11. This is a 7:30 kick on ABC. Again, same spread. These things are tough. Alabama opens up as 7.5 point favorites. Jacob, I'll go first on this one. I think it's kind of the same exact mindset, just flipped. I think I'm taking Tennessee and the points. I know they're on the road, but Joey Aguilar has been a very, very good quarterback this year. I think he's surprised a lot of people. I don't think most people, including me, didn't think that Tennessee was getting the better side of that, quote unquote trade with Nico and Maliava. I think Alabama wins the game at home. I think it's close though. So again, 7.5, it's right in that area. I wish this was different. I'm going to take Tennessee and we'll see what happens.
Well, you and me both thought the same thing. We both had these 7.5 point spreads. And we're like, okay, we're half point. We're freaking taking it.
Yeah, so exactly.
I'm taking Tennessee as well. My thought process is we know that this Tennessee defense is not the greatest this year. I mean, hell, they've given up 44 to Georgia, 24 to UAB team. They really shouldn't have given up. They gave up 34 to Mississippi State, 31 to Arkansas. Like, this defense is not great. We know this Bama team can score. And obviously Tennessee's offense, like you said, Joey Aguilar has played pretty much lights out this year. So, I expect the over-under opened at 58.5, something like that. I think it's up like 59.5. I'd still take the over for that. I think this could be a 45 to 42 kind of game or something like that. So with that being said, Tennessee, you give me a touchdown, even though it's at Bama. Night game, I understand. But like, hey, I've heard that Tennessee's stadium is one of the hardest to play at. Not Alabama, not in recent years. That stadium is still, it's harder than, UAB or something like that. But hey, it's not the premier, stadium to go play at. And I think together, Tennessee, high flying offense, high scoring game, I think they can keep it within a touchdown. So give me Tennessee plus 7.5.
Yeah, if this was in Neyland Stadium, I think I would be even more confident in this pick. That's why I kept like double checking. Exactly. I was like, is this game not in Tennessee? So yeah, I think you're spot on with that. All right, and this one might be a first. This might be the first time ever in the history of Vanderbilt football. Could be wrong, but number 10 LSU Tigers. They beat somebody last week. I don't remember who. They're traveling to Nashville to take on the number 17th ranked Vanderbilt Commodores. 12 p.m. kick. ABC. Vanderbilt 2.5 point favorites over the Tigers. Again, I would say pretty confidently without looking up anything, Vanderbilt has never been favored versus LSU ever in the history, probably on the baseball field, and that's the only place.
Yeah.
So holy cow, this is huge. I mean, I'm kind of not like surprised by it though. Like, I'm surprised that Vegas has done it, but like, to be completely honest with you, like, yeah, why can't Vandy kick a field goal and win this game? Right? Like,
yeah, you're right.
I mean, so, why not? I mean, that kind of spoils it. I'm going to take Vandy. I'm going to just ride with this because this makes no sense. I don't want to concern myself on half-point games anymore, but, like, holy cow, 2.5 point fit. Like, let me just ride with Vandy. I don't know how much of a home field advantage they have. But
stadium's done though, right?
The stadium's
so maybe
done.
They do have.
It's updated. Missouri's isn't
maybe
done.
They do have.
The Missouri game, I was staring at a bulldozer the whole time, which maybe that was distracting. So, but yeah, Vandy Stadium is done. So yeah, give me the Commodores 2.5. I'll take it.
I got you. I'm just not there yet. I mean, I still had LSU to win the SEC championship at the beginning of the year. And obviously they can't really lose this one because, the SEC is crazy and, 2-loss team may make it to the SEC championship, but I just don't think they're going to lose this one. Again, a field goal kind of game. I think LSU can pull that out. The problem is LSU, again, just like last week, they only scored 20 against y'all. They're going to have to keep this a very low scoring game. And again, all I've heard about is Blake Baker's defense. Here we go again with it again. But we saw what LSU did the very last week against probably one of the best running quarterbacks I've seen in a good while with Lenora Sellers. And you heard the crazy stat of how much Sellers ran for, which was 22 carries for 19 yards, but he had to run for almost 900 yards to get that. I think Diego Pavia, he is the leading rusher for this team at 352 yards rushing this year. I just think that they're going to be able to shut down that, which means Vandy will not be able to run the ball at all. They'll have to lean completely on Diego Pavia's arm. I get it, it's at home, but it's a noon game. I mean, you got to feel like Nussmeier is going to click at any point during this year, right? I mean, you would think Caden Durham may be able to run the ball in this game. I mean, Vanderbilt is still Vanderbilt, even though this team is better, and they rightly so are ranked 17th. They're favored in this game. So, I mean, Vanderbilt's getting the respect. But I just feel like LSU and Brian Kelly, they just can't, they got to win this one, right? You just got to.
Nope.
And so because I'm saying that, that's why I'm taking LSU plus 2.5.
Give me Vandy by 20. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't bet that.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, dude, because at the same time, the ESPN little predictor here is saying Vandy is 60%. That's a lot more. I thought it'd be 50-50 or somewhere.
Yeah, those things are normally pretty strong one way or the other. A lot of times,
and Vandy's 60%
for
over LSU.
Hey, all right.
Don't disappoint, Vandy.
Hey,
you got expectations now.
You're right. Now, what do you do with it? I don't think Pavia cares about it. I think he's like, all right, yeah, bring it on. All right, this next one, I'm curious to your point, to your opinion, because of how you picked this team last week. But number 13 Notre Dame hosting the Trojans, coming in ranked number 20th. This is a 7:30 kick on NBC, streaming on Peacock. Notre Dame coming in as 9.5-point favorites. We talk about it every week. What does Notre Dame need to be going forward? It's beating everybody by a lot of points. And I tell you what, they have done that since they're beating everybody by a lot of points. And to be honest, their 2 losses look really good right now because they're to the number 2 ranked Miami team and the number 4 ranked Texas A&M in the bogus AP poll. We're not going to spend any time on that. But 9.5-point favorites. Look, I think this is the only pick that I've been getting right. I've been hammering Notre Dame, saying that they need to beat teams by a lot of points, and I've been getting it right. So I know this is crazy because of what last year's talk, but I'm going to be loyal to Notre Dame and the fact that they are getting me one of my correct picks in the week, only one of 2 the last few weeks, but I'm going to ride with the Irish. And I need one. So give me the Irish minus 9.5, and let's just hope they get it. Even if it's by 10 points, just let me get one.
Let me get one. He's desperate.
He's desperate. Dude.
I'm actually going the other way.
See, I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah. I'm going to take USC. Still a lot of points that they can kind of hang around in, and like you said, that the 2 losses they have against 2 really, really good teams were by 4 points combined. 3 points to Miami and 1 point A&M. So I think a good team can keep it within 10 points, and I think obviously beating Michigan last week, USC is a decent team, and Miava is pretty good quarterback, and they can throw the ball. And I understand this Notre Dame defense has turned and played a lot better recently. And they've kind of, what people would say, kind of gotten hot, turned it on since the A&M game. They've given up 7 to Boise State and then 7 to NC State, 13 to Arkansas, which Arkansas could score. So I completely understand that side. I'm just kind of picking just to pick, if you will. And what bothers me kind of with this pick is this is Notre Dame's probably biggest game left of the year. After this, they got Boston College, Navy, which Navy's actually pretty good. But Pitt, Syracuse, and Stanford to end the year. So this is like their last chance to really make a statement, if you will, because the rest of the games you would think they'd still win by 25, 35 points, whatever, and make it look easy. So this is the last chance they need to make a statement. So your pick is probably a good pick. but I'm going to stick with it. Thinking this USC team. I understand they're traveling to South Bend, but like they can keep it within 10 and make this thing a game. So I'm gonna trust Lincoln Riley for a little bit here and take USC plus 9.5.
That this will be good. This will be interesting. We'll be locked in
Yes,
on that one
for sure.
All right, moving on. Number 14, Oklahoma, coming off the loss versus Texas. They're traveling to Columbia to take on the Gamecocks at Williams-Brice. 12:45 kick on the SEC network. Oklahoma, 5.5-point favorites. Look, man. Look, our backs are against the wall. We're 3-3. We're kind of in the same position we were last year when we took on Oklahoma. You saw what we did last year to that team. Look, on offense, it's a different story. Mateer is not Jackson Arnold. He's a lot better. I'm assuming he's playing. I haven't heard. Like, I don't know if that thumb injury has now gotten worse after that. It's probably one of those things where it's a pain tolerance issue as opposed to it getting hurt anymore. So I'm just going to assume that he's playing. Their defense does fly. They fly around like crazy. I mean, now that Venables is leading that defense, you can tell. But look, man, it's one, our backs are against the wall. Two, I think, and I hate to like be cliche and say this, but I do feel like we're like knocking on the door. Like we're right there. It's just like these little tiny things that we clean up. And I think our record's different. At least last week, I feel like we, it's just, holy cow, we clean up a couple things. Like we should be winning this game. So with that being said, backs against the wall. It is Cocktober. That has a lot to do with it. New guy running the offensive line now. Lenore Sellers is still Lenore Sellers. Like, just trust the process right now and hammer South Carolina to cover this 5.5. And by hammer it, I mean, I hope we win the game. Like, I can't be 3-4 right now. The only way I can be 3-4 is if you guys lose the SMU this week, and I really don't want both of us down bad going into next week's episode. So let's just get a win. So obviously we cover, and let's just move on, to the rest of this gauntlet we got coming up.
I got you. Hey, I've already hit my lowest point of the year. I've already accepted that.
You're right.
So
I haven't hit my lowest point yet. I'm not
true.
there yet. We have
maybe
rock
not.
bottom still ways down.
I got you. This is the one that I told you I'm sticking with my pick after I made it. But when I was making these picks before this, I wrote one down and then kept going, and then I came back to. Well, this is the one I came back to. The 5.5 is a weird number for me. I originally picked y'all to cover this, and I did it because mainly, like you said, it was Cocktober. You feel like something's got to happen, and then I realized, oh, this is a middle of the day kind of a game, and I don't know what kind of like. And not that y'all don't have anything to play for, because Beamer's probably been pissed off all week, so he's probably got this team pissed off.
100%.
So I mean, I could be walking into a trap here. But I think Oklahoma has proven to be really damn good this year, and they are pissed off of what happened against Texas. And Texas is a different squad than y'all for sure. And I really think that Oklahoma can go in there and win by a touchdown. Again, it is Cocktober, but it's not a night game. Willie B's still going to be rocking, but it's different at night. And I don't even know how I feel about that, like with Mateer, because I personally think Oklahoma can go in there and just hand the ball off 40 times and hopefully pull out a 7-point win.
But like, but they're not running the ball that well. Like the running backs aren't.
They aren't, but they can go in there and win an ugly game 24-14 or something like that.
I like our chances better in an ugly game, to be honest, because that's kind of how last week was.
Maybe.
Like, we outran LSU.
And that's the thing is, like, I wish I could agree with that, but like this offensive line for y'all has been atrocious. Basically, I mean, you're going to have a new
but we got a
offensive
new coach
line
now. We're good.
Coach. But is that going to fix something in 6 days? Like,
No,
that's what I'm saying.
I
like,
know. But
there's so much of a question mark there, and like you'd have to lean on Sellers to throw the ball, and I just can't. Even though Mateer may have one hand, like I don't know. I feel like they're still going to be able to score more points than y'all because Venables. You said it. Venables will shut down the run. He will put 13 spies on Sellers and say, go ahead, throw the ball. And don't get me wrong, Sellers has proven that he can at times, but this offensive line will not protect him long enough to be able to throw the ball. And I just see that happening, and Oklahoma being able to score 24-28, somewhere around in there. I just don't think you're going to be able to get there.
Well, I know you said there was no stat that was going to change your mind, but I'm going to give you the one you've never heard of, which I thought about during your rant. So last week, Oklahoma lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, why did they lose the game? Was it because Texas, or was it because of what was going on outside the stadium? Did John Mateer and them boys spend too much time at the State Fair in Dallas, eat a bunch of corn dogs and turkey legs? Is that what happened? Because you know what's this Saturday in Columbia? You know what's going on outside that
Say
stadium?
fair.
It's the freaking State Fair. And as soon as that Oklahoma team smells them turkey legs and looks at them corn dogs, they're going to be like, dang it, here we are again. They're going to get PTSD, and they are going to not know what to do with themselves. So now, I'm giving you one chance after hearing that stat. If you call it a stat, you change your mind. That's pretty hard to argue, I think.
No, that honestly may be the greatest stat you've ever uttered. Honestly,
I think so
this
too.
podcast could go viral because of that stat. That's amazing.
That's
honestly.
a great stat.
It is. It's a great stat, but I'm still going to stick with Oklahoma
All right.
here.
Well, if you want to be on the wrong side of history, you're going to be on the wrong side of history.
They ate all the corn dogs last
wrong
week.
side of history.
So they lost. They're upset. They're not going to repeat that. They're going to come in and handle business like they should.
They're going to be the first team in the history of the United States to lose back-to-back state fair games. That's what's at stake right now.
That's right. Look it up.
Look it up. All right. Complete opposite. Let's move on to, we've had Catholics versus convicts this year. We've had Miami versus Notre Dame. This week, we got the Holy War. We got BYU taking on Utah. BYU coming in ranked number 15. Utah going in ranked number 23. 8 p.m. kick on Fox. Utah, 3.5-point favorites. Jacob, short and sweet. I trust Devin Dampier in that offense more than I do BYU. So give me the Utes in 3.5.
Okay, short and sweet. Yeah. I'm not sure about this BYU defense, honestly. They've given up a decent amount of points. They barely beat Arizona 2 overtimes last week, still giving up 27. Gave up 24 to West Virginia, 21 to Colorado. I mean, like, this Utah team has barely given up 14 points. I think that's the most they've given up this year in their wins. Yeah, exactly. They lost to Texas Tech, but I mean, who in the Big 12 can say they've beaten? Nobody's beaten Texas Tech.
Exactly.
So, like, I mean, that's like a one-off. And other games, this Utah defense has given up no more than 14 points. So I think the Utah defense will be the reason here that Utah handles business. 3.5. I freaking hate these half-point lines. Here we go again. But I'm going to take Utah to go into BYU and win the Holy War and cover the 3.5.
All right. I like it. All right. Moving on. The last game we're going to cover in this Week 8 slate. SMU traveling to Clemson to take on the Tigers. 3:30 kick on the ACC network. Clemson coming in 9.5-point favorites. SMU 4-2. Clemson 3-3 on the year. Jacob, this is a tough one, to be honest. Like, I didn't know what the spread was coming into this episode. It's right in that weird, like, I know what Clemson's been doing recently, but again, like, what has SMU done recently?
True. No, I agree. They recently beat Stanford 34-10 last week. They beat Syracuse 31-18, which Clemson can't say we beat Syracuse
But
this
was
year.
that with or without Angeli?
No, that was without Angeli. That was after we played Syracuse. Or, yes, after we played them. So, I understand that. They lost they lost to TCU as well this year. I'm talking about SMU. And then they lost in the first week to Baylor in 2 overtimes. So, yeah, I mean, like I said earlier in this podcast, I think SMU is not as good as they were last year. They still have Kevin Jennings, of course, who has basically balled out this year as well. 15 touchdowns, 6 picks, 1,658 yards to the air so far. I mean, the dude's playing pretty well. Stats are actually better than Cade's. Surprise, surprise. And, but yeah, man, like you said, this 9.5 is kind of a weird, just like all these spreads are. The books know what they're doing, and they hurt my wallet every week, it feels like. And we do get this at home, 3:30 game, so we'll end kind of as a night game. We don't have any Cocktober sayings to get behind, but I feel like if the last 2 weeks translates, we should be able to handle business here by like 17 or so. So we should cover. I need to see it before I can actually pick that. I'm actually picking SMU plus 9.5, hoping that Clemson can still win, but I need to see this team go mistake-free as much as possible, run the shit out of the ball, take control of this game, and look forward to handling business the rest of the year. Again, expectations are already out the window. I'm not worried about a bowl game. I'm not worried about everything else. I just want to handle business and look like a good coached and disciplined football team.
Yep.
And if we play like that, we can beat this team by, like I said, 17 or more. But I need to see it to believe it. And this is another home game, which we've actually played pretty damn bad at home. But I'm going to take Clemson. I'm sorry, I'm going to take SMU to cover the 9.5 with Clemson still win.
Man, I thought your your fandom was gonna get in the way of that pick. I think the times that you've picked against Clemson and picked the spread, you've been correct. And look, I think you're 100% correct, and that's why I'm also picking SMU. It's not against Clemson. I think Clemson wins this game, but against quality competition this year, Clemson has not played well. And
Nope.
and even against not so great competition with Troy, they have not played well. Now, obviously, the last 2 weeks, this is what they should have done, right? So I think that you guys have made improvements, but again, how much of that is improvement? How much of that is lesser competition? We'll find that out. And I think SMU is a good test for that. Again, SMU's done what they needed to against lesser competition with Stanford, and Syracuse without Angeli is not the same team. So I think that's a fair assessment. I think if you guys play to the best of your ability, yeah, absolutely, you guys can win by double digits. But like, you guys just have not proven that yet versus the competition. And like you said, you got nothing else to lose. Why not? I mean, to me, they should be playing free for the most part. So we're kind of the same boat with our teams. Like, can we just play a clean game, be disciplined, and like, I don't know. Like, it's one thing to lose a game, and it's another thing to shoot yourself in the foot and be the reason. Beating
Yep.
yourself is very tough, right? Win the turnover margin. Don't turn the ball over. Have lesser penalties. If you lose games, but you're doing well in all those three categories, I can pretty much be okay with that. Like, you're not going to win every game. I get it, right? That's doesn't happen a lot. But as long as you're not shooting yourself in the foot, so yeah, let's take care of the ball, Cade. Let's take care of the ball, running backs. Let's not turn the ball over. Defense, keep them in front of you, no big plays, and yeah, I think you guys can easily win this game. But I'm with you. I got to take SMU and the 9.5, and I got to be proven it going forward. But before we start, totally kind of hammering the spreads that we think Clemson should be able to cover easily.
For sure.
All right. Well, that wraps up week 8. Looks like we differ on 1, 2, 3, 4. If I got this math correct, we differ on 4 different picks. So we could have a big swing this week. Again, I'm just trying to shoot back to 500, and we'll go from there. So
Yeah, same here. Just want to be over 500, honestly, and then I'll worry about beating you.
yeah. One thing at a time.
That's right.
All right, brother. I enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yes, sir. See you.
See ya.